and then they'll take you through anything we have to share with you today. So
just thinking left-hand side. Yes, it is a bit parcel with them quite slow. I will try and be super quick. But I did just want to talk to you very briefly about BIMA. Who is a member of BIMA in this room? Brilliant. Okay, so I will be super quick because most of you are members and you know what we're about. So we are the representative body of the British digital industry. Everything we do drives innovation and excellence across that industry. And we do it by learning, networking, awarding, and mentoring. This is a kind of, we have about 400 corporate members. They're all over the UK, so we have big communities in the northwest and the south, and in Scotland. And I guess the heritage is definitely digital agencies, full service agencies, but increasingly, because obviously the landscape is just changing so rapidly, we have digital teams from brands, from charities, little and large tech companies, startups and universities as well, who are again super interested in connecting to all of you, connecting to the industry. And then just very briefly, this is kind of what makes us different, and this is why this event is happening, and why all that good stuff is happening. That we have, with our core structure, is a number of different councils. So I have a central council that has about 100 people on it, and pretty much everyone on that council also chairs or co-chairs their own council. So we are running 18 different councils that all have between kind of 10 and 15 kind of industry leaders and doers on them, and they're all producing content. So for BIMA, they really set the agenda for us. So anything that we do, whether it's thought leadership, surveys, reports, our big flagship events, these sorts of events, comes from our councils. So if your company hasn't got anyone on the council, or you're interested in joining a council, do have a look, because it's a really good way to immediately get a ton out of the community and a ton out of the community. And last but not least, so this is our next thing coming up. It's hugely important to us. It's being a digital day on the 12th of November. Who does digital? Who's done digital day for experience? So that's good. You can do it as well. So basically, this is the day where we facilitate digital practitioners going back to school for the day. So year round, we're open for submissions from secondary schools and from agencies and companies who want to take part. Last year, we were in, I think, 160 schools in 90 different cities and towns around the UK. And we will then match you up with as local a school as possible, and we provide the toolkit and the framework for you to go in, talk to the young people and students about the opportunities in the digital industry, and then also we have a number of brand challenges, so really nice briefs that you then run through with that group of students. You might get 10 students, you might get a whole year group, like 150. It's really a chance, but I haven't met a single person that doesn't get a huge amount from it and finds it super rewarding. So there's still time to sign up. I think we've got about 60 schools we still have to match. We've had about, I think we've got about 230, 240 schools submitted. 250 schools submitted, but you really need to sign up. And that's it from us. I'm going to hand over to Jess to talk about the Diversity Inclusion Council.
Hello. Hello. I don't know if I've got all the chance to I'm just nervous. So the Inclusion and Diversity Council, BIMA Council, has been established to help create a digital industry that we can all feel proud of, actually, one that's just as forward thinking in its attitude and the ways it handles ideas, it is in its attitude and the way it innovates with technology. It's our job to work with organisations and individuals to help make the digital industry a place we all want to work, and we do that through a variety of different means. We do events. Nancy and I have just been talking about doing a round table for small agency owners who don't often have HR support or actually people devoted to ID initiatives. And we do a number of different things ultimately to try and help the organisations who are associated with BIMA progress, feel like they have the information they need in order to create workplaces that have better equality in them. As a council, we've got our energy into things like challenging prejudice, sexual harassment in the workplace, helping organisations to eliminate their gender pay bias, exploring the challenges surrounding mental well-being and neurodivergence. We want to play our part in creating positive workspaces where everyone feels valued. This year we launched our BIMA Tech Inclusion and Diversity Report. That was a combination of lots of people doing lots of things over about 8 months, and it really was quite a big undertaking. We had over 3,000 respondents. 3,500 respondents. Sorry, I was taking the big website. 3,500 respondents. So a statistically significant kind of report. I was going to say there'll be some copies here today, but we don't actually have copies, but you can download it if you go to the BIMA website and search for the Tech Inclusion and Diversity Report. The name's actually right. You'll be able to download it there. And if anyone really wants a hard copy, if they grab Polly or Elise or any of the other guys from BIMA back there, they'll make sure that you get a copy. Early next year, sort of taking, I guess, kind of moving on from having some information about the current state of inclusion and diversity in the tech industry. We're going to do something a little bit more applied. So we're going to talk to the HR community and find out what people are actually doing in their organisations, with the hope that that will kind of reveal a slightly different, useful set of information, but also ideally will provide some practical ideas that people can apply in their own organisations. One of those things might be to work with you make it, but you can decide that by the end of today's session. I'm sure you will too. We're also going to reboot the Diversity Council, so if any of you are sat here thinking, I'd quite like to do some of those things and share my knowledge and be able to make a positive difference, then we are looking to reboot the council. We are particularly looking for people who have lived experience of being in a marginalised group, people who work in inclusion and diversity or have worked in it or are really actively involved in it. We want as many experienced practitioners as we can on the council so we can give people advice that they can go and follow, so they can go and do something about it in their own business rather than just read about it. Obviously we need those people to work in digital and technology, but that is in the broadest sense. You don't have to work for a company that simply does digital or does technology. That's just part of your role. If you are interested in coming on board, I think we're running a kind of interview type process, aren't we, Nancy? Which Nancy and I are really heavy up, which is why I sound a bit vague. But if you are interested in that, either grab me after grab Nancy, grab Holly, grab any of the guys from BIMA, we can direct you or take your contact details and direct you to the next stage of that. And just watch this space for more of the things that we're doing. Please do come along to events and support the things we're doing, because that also helps spread the word. Without further ado, I do need to click. See, I do need to click. Oh, that was really cool. There you go. You can find the webpage. I'm not going to even attempt to introduce Asma in any depth because she's so much more compelling when she tells her own story, having seen her do that before. Last time we did one of these events, I had struggled to hold back tears for most of it, so it was just loads of really emotional stories and really important stories. So I'm sure you will enjoy the discussion that we're going to have. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Asma.
So apparently I'm mic'd up. Do I sound mic'd up?
Yes,
yeah. Good. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for coming along on this coldish morning. Obviously thank you BIMA and thank you as ever to a wonderful partner, a critical partner, Publicis Sapient. So I'm Asma. I'm the founder and chief executive of You Make It, which is an empowerment charity working with young, unemployed and increasingly underemployed, so those women who typically work 0-hour contracts or work in relatively poor conditions, to help them become more connected to opportunities in the city, including work opportunities within industries that are very underrepresented, diversity, the creative industries, just looking through, still have a long way to go. And so our work is very much about allowing practical ways for them to engage in sectors they would typically engage with. It's about giving the confidence, the networks, the knowledge, and just the oomph to lead happy and productive lives in a city that is, of course, one of the most diverse in the world, but it's certainly not the most inclusive and integrated. So, I'm not going to get too emotional talking about my backstory, but I am going to tell you a bit about my backstory because it leads very nicely into why I do this work. So, my professional background prior to setting Me Make It Up in 2011 from my kitchen table in Bethnal Green was that I had largely worked in the cultural and creative industries. So middle class professions, middle class spaces. Usually I was the only brown person in my team. And those experiences of working in those organisations that encompassed cultural arts and broadcast sector organisations was not always positive. I was a minority. I often found out that I was being paid less than peers who were doing the same job as me. I was never given a promotion, although my appraisal was fantastic. And eventually I decided to leave that sector. So they lost a leader actually, but for me it was really important that I was happy where I was working. So that was one of the motivations in setting Me Make It Up. I wanted to work to ensure other young women who wanted to enter the industry had a bit more confidence, didn't suffer the same imposter syndrome that I experienced. Another motivation for setting up my charity is that while I worked in those kind of quite comfortable places, my personal background is that I was raised by a single mother, an immigrant from Pakistan, who had come to this country with my two older sisters, and then me and the sister just above me were born in London. She had escaped from a violent marriage when I was 6 months old, and actually my formative, I think 18 months in London as a baby was spent in a refuge, before refuges actually were technically introduced, so it was 1973. Raised on council estate, lots of other difficult family stuff going on. Went to a pretty, I'll just be honest, a shit school in the Elephant and Castle. Didn't do well at school, so there's family things going on. But managed nonetheless to get to A-level college. Didn't do very well at A-levels because there was lots of family stuff going on. But I still managed to slip through the net somehow and get into university. And at that point I did well, got a degree, got a master's and so on. My mother died of cancer 18 months before setting You Make It Up. And so I guess part of what I wanted to do with You Make It was to set something up that worked to empower women from similar backgrounds to my mother and myself and my sisters, there are 4 of us, so that they wouldn't fall through the cracks. And I guess that would be the biggest motivation for setting You Make It Up, a very personal reason. At the same time, I don't know if that's a real fire alarm. My mother... Okay. I'll carry on, because I think you can hear me through the whatever. At the same time, in grief, reflection of my own background and what may have happened to us if we hadn't had an inspirational role model in our mother. She was inspirational. She was, while we were poor, while we were struggling, she nonetheless managed to, get herself a 4-year degree of education here and have a very successful career. In addition to that, 2011, which is when You Make It launched with no funding, it was the introduction of austerity, so it was the start of the coalition government between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives, and it was very clear to me that actually women from less advantaged backgrounds, or anyone from less advantaged backgrounds, but specifically women, and I think austerity has proven this, were going to suffer as a result of those measures. So I wanted to do something that I guess was a fight back against austerity in some ways. And the third reason, the third motivation for setting You Make It Up is that while I was raised on a council estate in Peckham, my whole professional career in Bethnal Green, which is where I still live now, and I've seen how the area has changed. Gentrification is a problem. It's really difficult actually if you're someone without money, without networks, without confidence, without a sense of belonging, to make it in an area that constantly is changing and not taking you along with the change. So I wanted to create something that worked with young women, that gave them an opportunity to become part of the changing fabric of the East End of London. So those are all the reasons for establishing You Make It. So this is what we do. It's basically a 6-month-long programme that works with 25 women each time. Those women, in the majority of cases, are recruited from local job centres in Hackney and Tower Hamlets. The 6 months programme includes 6 months of one-to-one mentoring, which is absolutely vital. If you're a woman who's needs neglected, if you've got no one in your family to ask you how you're getting on or what you want to do in life, you're unlikely to make it. Your one-to-one mentoring is absolutely must. You're going to hear from some mentors later. We also run a fantastic series. It used to be 12 workshops weekly, but now I think it's something like 22. Because what we do is constantly changing, evolving and developing in response to what our users say they want from us. And those workshops rotate around cultural, creative and city-based buildings that would normally be out of reach to our young women. So one thing that we're trying to do through UMake is to get our women who are marginalised wrongly to create in them a sense of right to the city. You know, this city is also theirs. These spaces potentially are theirs. These are spaces that potentially they could work in. So those workshops rotate around all these amazing venues. We have a number of partners here today, of course, Publicis Sapient is one of them. And very importantly, those workshops don't just focus on straightforward skills around this is how you get a job, write a CV, interview. But because we're working with women who have very challenging personal backgrounds, our workshops also give a lot of space for self-reflection and a very safe space for those women to create network with each other and to reflect on some very traumatic backgrounds. Unfortunately, we do find actually typically with our programs, I think our last program, maybe 70% of our women disclose being abused as children. A lot of our women have experienced gender-based violence. So we have those workshops, and then we also have fantastic opportunities for women to get work placements. Obviously, the biggest barrier to entering the world of work is actually if you have no experience, like what you put on your CV. So we work with a range of many from the culture and creative industries because our women want to work in the sorts of organisations that you come from, but they just don't know how to get there. And so we've also got some lovely work placement posts in the organisation now, and Publicis Sapient, of course, one of them. We also, I would say, 25 women per programme, around 30 to 40% of those who by the end of the programme begin to identify themselves as potential entrepreneurs, whether they're social entrepreneurs or just purely for-profit entrepreneurs. And so for those women, we have opportunities for them to pitch business startup ideas as part of something called Ladies' Den. And as a result of that, the winners are announced at graduation. As a result of that, our women go on to access free co-working space. I don't want anyone to have to work on their kitchen table like I did for 18 months. It drove me actually mad. It seemed a luxury initially. I get to work from home from my kitchen table, no commute, but actually it's incredibly lonely. And you do need the stimulus of chatting to other people in startups when you're setting up. You know, I don't think the way I did it was harder than it needed to be. And we also have a lot of women are really creative. They make things. They wouldn't necessarily have been trained in making things. They're bedroom makers. You know, they paint, they sew. They're very creative. And for those women, we also have a project called Trading Places where they set up stalls and trade and get a sense of whether there's something in their creativity they can make a living from. And then the culmination of our programme is graduation. There are a few people here who, I'm looking at Richard now, who helped tremendously with our last graduation. I mean, you could probably say a few words about graduation, just because you've been to so many.
I think there's probably only one word, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
I think, especially if you're involved with any of the programs in the lead-up, to see it all come to like this crescendo and how the women almost transform over the 6-month program. It is fantastic. I don't think I can say anything enough.
No,
We'll do anything else.
Yeah, well, you have to be there, in all honesty. We've got our next one on the 6th of, is it the 6th of April, Roxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you can all get involved in our charity and they can come to graduation as well and have that joy yourself. So the programme is pretty much what I've described, but I don't think that I can do it any justice in describing the kind of menu of what women go through. I think for you it's going to be really important here today, who are unfamiliar with UMake and its work, to hear from one of our beneficiaries. And I'm really proud to introduce one of our wonderful beneficiaries who now works with UMake to the stage. I just wanted to, before we hear from Honesty, I want to say just a couple more things. So obviously our core programmes are the programmes we work directly with young women on. But additional to that, UMake have also launched something called We Change It, which is a set of modular courses aimed at upskilling you within the workplace to become great allies for diversity and inclusion. There are some details about those courses in the packs that we found on the seats. We also, if you are organisations, companies, or have links to organisations, companies who have apprenticeship schemes or internships and don't think they're working as effectively as they could be or struggling to engage the right kinds of young people, to retain them or to progress them, we have distilled the magic of You Make It into something called You Make It Happen, which is another series of modular courses where you can learn how to effectively work with young people so they genuinely get to change their lives. I just want to say something about our we work with women who do not come from privileged backgrounds. They are wonderful women, they're resilient women, they're strong women, they're brilliant women. I mean, their backstories, the fact that they come to our programme with their backstories and they're continuing, I would say, make them exceptional. We have over 90% retention on our programmes. That's a very unusual retention rate for programmes working with people who do not come from the easiest of backgrounds. Also, very consistently, across all of our programmes, within 6 months of completing, around 80 to 85% of those women enter the world of work or establish their own start-up businesses. So working with an organisation like You Make It that has such clear, demonstrable social impact is actually, I would guess, very beneficial for businesses because you can share that social impact in terms of you and your brand identity as a company that is doing more than just generating profit. Although you stand a chance of increasing your profit if you work with more diverse workforces. That's a no-brainer. So now, sorry, can I have Honesty come up on stage? I'm going to ask Honesty a few questions. So Honesty actually is also one of the facilitators on our We Change It diversity modules of training. So it's great to actually work with young people who then end up hiring to help grow the business with impact. Can you explain what life was like before You Make It in a few minutes?
Just because life is long, I'm going to not really pull punches. So that's just my story, and I'm not really ashamed of it. My background is, I'm from East London, and my mum, both my parents were teen parents. My dad was 19, my mum was 17. My dad was first generation half Nigerian, and my mum was from the West Indies. And so, kind of all through their childhood, there was this unique trauma situation whereby they grew up in East London, pre all the other ethnics. And so it was intense for them growing up. And so when they then had a baby, they didn't know how to parent, and so I just became the follow-on product of generational trauma, which meant I experienced emotional abuse and physical abuse, and lots of other fun stuff, which is not fun, but we make jokes because it's uncomfortable. So I kind of grew up with that, and we were obviously a household that was broke, because that was the way it was. There wasn't really money in my house when I grew up. My mum eventually became a social worker, which was amazing to me because I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe she can do it. And the school that I went to, everyone used to go, oh my god, that's honestly mum, I want to see mum works. And that's just a social worker, even though that's huge to me still. That kind of put in perspective what it was like in terms of for me growing up in the area, and just how surprising it was to see someone succeed in a job that we thought we couldn't access before. So kind of fast forward a little bit, when I reached secondary school, I was probably about 12, when I guess the results of my trauma started kicking in. And so at 12 years old, I made my first attempt at suicide. I was diagnosed with depression quite early because of the extent of my mental health issues. And a big challenge, this is not directly linked, but a big challenge was that in the NHS, if you are black or brown, it's going to take you ages to get an accurate diagnosis. And so it was weird to be like, okay, you have depression, so let's just give you drugs straight away at 12, which you don't necessarily see elsewhere. So that was a big flaw in terms of my experience of feeling like I was then kind of pulled out of school a lot because I wasn't quite the normal kid, but also I was going to environments whereby I should have been protected and wasn't quite, and people weren't advocating for me or my health in a way that actually stood to benefit me for the rest of my teens. Fast forward again, so I did kind of alright in school. I was like academic in primary school, and then you're like, oh, this is the smart magic kid, and then it starts wearing off, and you're like, maybe I'm just that average kid, and everyone else will like magic. I am magic, but so yeah, about 16, I finished. I managed to get my 10 GCSEs, which was impressive and hard because we didn't have tutor buddies, so it was just like focus. And skip all of this stuff and just have kind of a lot of guidance in terms of, I think coming from a school where there was a deprived background and they understood that they couldn't meet all of my needs, there was kind of a lot of allowance in terms of how I could maneuver the school system and just being given space to be like, okay, well, if you can't be in this classroom right now, because we know it's going to be too much trying to battle all of these kids from this background, just step out when you need it. And I benefited a lot from that. Having advocates early on in my academic life. I started A-levels, I was studying psychology, English and sociology, and about 3 months in I had another dip, so I had another episode, and I had another suicide attempt. And then it was like, oh no, what do we do? And at that point, my sixth form, I had a meeting without my mum present, and they said, we don't think that we can provide for you, and we think that if we continue to let you be a student here, you're going to put our name at risk. That was what was said to me in the meeting. So at which point I was like, okay, I guess I'll drop out then. Like, what are my other options? And because of my mindset, I was definitely not in a good space anyway. So I dropped out and I spent about 6 months intensively at home. And that's not an exaggeration. So I didn't leave my house for 6 months straight, just trying to manage and function and do the day-to-day stuff that I could get away with. And then I thought, I started back in talking therapies and I was working my way up and I was like, okay, now I'm kind of getting used to it a bit, I'm going to try and get back into this life stuff, even though I'm behind and my friends are doing other stuff. Let me give it a go. I applied for a nursery apprenticeship as a nursery nurse, and just after I kind of left after 2 weeks because I knew it wasn't for me. Straight after I left, I had an audition appointment, and I'll skip the long story, but I got diagnosed with brain tumour, which was kind of just like a massive stomach punch because I was like, I just got up. Like, you know, like when you watch boxing and then you watch like, not AJ because he sucks now because he lost 2 knees, but you watch them get up and then you're like, alright, he's got it now. And so I thought, I was just getting up and then just got sucker punched and I was like, I really have no more plan for my life. Like, I don't know what to do. It's sitting in the left part of my brain and it impacts my memory, it impacts my processing, it impacts my words. And I've got migraines all the time and I'm tired and suddenly it was like, even if I wanted to do the most basic job, how challenging am I going to find this? And how am I going to find someone to believe that as a black queer woman, additionally with health issues, how am I going to warrant getting into any space ever again? Because there's no one going to advocate for me and make space. If I wanted to be a professional, suddenly like all of these doors had closed. And then my aunt didn't make it. And she was obviously not from a dissimilar background to me in terms of her experiences in childhood. And she was like, I think you should try it. And I did.
Can you talk about what your life... I just want to quickly say something, I forgot to mention it, but you piqued my memory. So one of the other things that we also offer women is one-to-one therapy and pastoral care, and you did access some of our therapy, you've already done a bit of work ahead of that. So can you explain, that was a really, was a very detailed picture of what your life was like before you made it. Can you talk about what your life is like now?
Oh, this is the fun bit. You can all like stop being sad. So I'll start with the first thing that comes to mind. I work now. I have a job. I'm a digital marketing apprentice at Red Badger, which is a software consultancy. I kind of always struggle with that because I'm like, when you work, you're like, this does so much stuff, you do everything. But this is not a pitch for marketing, so anyway. I'm a Stonewall Young campaigner for POC LGBTQIA youth. And I kind of did some freelance work. So it's weird to say my life is kind of completely flipped in terms of I'm now in a position to advocate for who I would have been just over 18 months ago. Which feels so weird but so empowering to be like, oh holy shit, I can now do this, and being able to see the difference in myself. I would say I'm far more confident, I guess, when you come from a background whereby you're constantly told to be quiet and silent, and bodily autonomy and choice isn't something that's introduced until you're 17, 18. Being and going through the whole You Make It program, it was just affirmation on affirmation on affirmation, and you learn so much in terms of everything from like taxes to self-confidence to your space and energy and vision boards and how to entrepreneur and how to meet people and how to network. And it just shifted everything for me. I think like I had the therapy for a long time, which really benefited too, because it meant that I could address some of my newer stuff. Because that's kind of the thing about life, it just cycles, and so I was like, no matter what I work through, I'm going to then have to do it again. I think even being in the transition period of like, I got to do a placement at my background last year before I worked there, and just going to be honest, I went in and I was like, my first day, I went to the toilet and I rang my mum and I cried. I was like, Mummy, I can't do it. Like, it's too much. It's so scary. Everyone's different to me. I'm so fearful. And I was like, I just want to come home. I was like, Roxy, will let me come home? I can definitely come home. And she was like, I think we should stay. just sit it out and think about what this could do for you. And sometimes I think back now and I'm like in the office and like talking to people at lunchtime and I'm like, I can't believe I'm a solution for you. Like, they're not scary. But it's about, I guess, seeing that difference now and how my feelings have shifted, my identity has shifted in terms of every part of me. So being in a space where you're around women is incredibly affirming, but then when you're in a space that is around women of colour, you're suddenly like, oh my God, like, I've not been in a space where you can just talk rawly and share in that environment of actually how do we begin to make moves and make noise and be visible because we deserve to be. And yeah, I guess now I'm not as afraid of taking up space. I'm taking up all the spaces you let me.
Can you talk a little bit about the experience of being mentored on You Make It?
So I had an amazing mentor. My mentor was from Rebecca. I swear it was all like my domino chips lined up perfectly for once. Yes, full hand. So my mentor was a lady called Jen. Is a lady called Jen, who's really continued us. And I guess that was amazing because when we first met and you kind of get matched up, you get sent an email and you're like, oh, here's some basic information about them. And everyone kind of trusts in the process of being matched up, but you're still like fearful, you get that heart in your chest, you're like, I'm about to meet someone and I'm possibly going to put all of my professional hopes and dreams into their hands. Like, I'm actually going to share this with someone and then possibly share my background with this someone if I trust them enough. And I don't know what their experience is, I don't know if they can deal with that, I don't know how they're going to help me, I don't know if they'll want to help me when they know who I am. And are they equipped to overstep the things that they don't know? So the truth is that as a mentor, your mentor is not going to know everything. My mentor, the lovely young lady she is, actually changed my complete life because she gave me so much access and almost acted as a sponsor for my career, which is different, but it was big to have that for the first time. But it was also like, oh my God, but you're middle class and literally look like flawless alien. And I just, like, you know, you think there's so much that we can't relate on, and there's sometimes where I used to think like, but I'm brown, so of course I'm scared about this interview. Like, this is a stupid question about why you're telling me that I can just go in and smash this interview. I know I can, but if I meet someone who is slightly ignorant, I definitely not going to smash this interview. But it was unique having that space where you start to feel like you're teaching someone and they're teaching you. And it's just a constant share of gifts in terms of learning to master professionalism from my background without having to alter who I am. So being actually I can be 100% me and still be presenting myself in a way that fits in corporate formal workspaces, which yeah, I'm talking about me.
And just to conclude, why do you think businesses should partner with You Make It? We know, you all know business reasons in terms of becoming more inclusive and diverse. You understand what it will do for your bottom line and so on and so forth. But from the perspective of a young person who so easily could have, your talents are boundless, but you could have so easily not, Red Badger so easily could have not benefited from you. because they wouldn't have worked with an organisation like You Make It to access the talent that's on their doorstep, because you come from a different background. So sounds like a really leading question. Why should businesses partner with You Make It from your perspective?
From my perspective, the industry, when I say we, I just mean all and every, because I'm fine like that, has a huge problem whereby they're not reaching us enough. I can share my story right now, it's equally impactful, but I am one of many people. Pretty much every family member I have, every little cousin, my little sister, our stories are going to be very similar. And it's only through You Make It that I've been able to showcase myself and be seen by the companies and the industries that are actually going to benefit from this, in terms of being able to use and utilise my experiences and what I can actually offer. You don't get that chance if I don't have You Make It. And so it's just kind of tied to also improvement. I think like when we think about diversity and inclusion, it's this weird thing where you're like, oh my god, we really, really want it, but also it's not on our priorities. And like if you look at our business strategy, it's maybe more like a slogan thing, and we're not going to prioritise it. Even though our lack of priority now, in 5 years, we're still going to have a huge problem in leadership. And so it's a bit like, well, if you're going to make the small steps start with You Make It, if you're going to make the big steps start with You Make It, because the truth is that everyone can do it with a little bit more honesty, in terms of let's just start talking about the fact that there's a problem and that I represent, in this case, black people are not followed, so don't ever use this anywhere else. But in this case, I represent a whole bunch of people who deserve to be in this space, who more than have the talents and gifts and ability to be here and be in lots of other spaces and not being accessed. And then you kind of see the continuous problems with us not getting into these spaces.
And presumably I know that I have a completely, when I'm discussing a problem or an issue or an idea with my partner who's white, middle class, we see things from a completely different lens because we come from completely different circumstances in life, and that's enriching. It makes just our partnership, our household enriching, because we have these different perspectives, these different takes. So presumably, Red Badger, that's what you're doing. You're giving them a different lens to create problems, solutions, and so on and so forth. You must feel that benefit there in that company.
I do.
You feel that you're giving that benefit. So.
Yeah, I feel proud often because I'm like, for the absolute shite that I've been through, it helps me so much in terms of being out for people. Like it's not the same, but I work in digital marketing. Like God, it's not for consumers. But when you look at all the mishaps that happen with branding, just period, and you're like, oh, every 2 weeks you see something that's like racist or blatantly homophobic or classist, and you think, how did this mistake happen? It's because there was no one in that room, or near that building, that represented the perspective that they should have had before they did that movie. And I think if you start to think about the ways that, I don't know, I guess reflect on your own role and start to think about the ways that only you being there from your perspective can limit your ability to be effective, and how much it can increase others.
From some of our partners, and I'm going to just introduce Roxy Jamshadi, who is Senior Programs and Partnership Manager from You Make It, just to run this bit of the conversation. I don't know how we're doing for time, if we ran over, but we're good. Okay.
Hi everyone. So as I mentioned, I'm Senior Programs and Partnership Manager. My face is not there, but it's fine, you can see it all here. And I've been working with You Make It for almost 4 years now. And it's the first time I say anywhere for more than 16 months, and I think that's a really good sign of the impact we have. It's so real and authentic. But I'd love to bring to the stage the fantastic people that make this programme happen, people who invest in our women and provide opportunities. So could I invite all of our partners to come up? So I can have Asma Shah, Harriet Adams, and Josie Klafkowska to come up. So, I would love to start. We are hosted today by Publicis Sapient, you are one of our longest-standing partners. We've been working for the last almost 4 years with Publicis Sapient. Not only provide mentoring for our women, provide work placements, host workshops, but are also a sponsor of ours. And actually, Atul Mehta, Senior Vice President, has been involved in our work since 2015. So I'd love to know a bit from you about your experiences of working with BIMA and what it was that led you to work with us.
So what led me was I actually wanted to give something back, and I felt that I would benefit from hearing some very different perspectives. Excuse me, sorry. So some very different perspectives to the one that I had. And so what I wanted to do was mentor someone that had a totally different outlook than I had, and try and help them into the workplace. And actually what I found was I learned as much as they did, and I enjoyed it as much as they did.
Could I ask, could I ask also, I mean, you don't just mentor, Atul is our chair now at BIMA, which is fantastic. You bring a whole wealth of expertise to at board level and governance, but you also host masterclasses from entrepreneurial women. Sure. You've coached women who have business startup ideas. How has that been for you?
So it's been good for me. So I started as a mentor, I then became a trustee on the board, and I now chair the board. And we talked about, some of the ladies' dens. Some of the ideas that, some of the women have on the program are fantastic ideas, but they don't necessarily know how to take it to market, to cost it properly. And so, I've held a number of classes to help them get the pricing right, make sure they're not underselling. It's very easy to sell something, very cheap, and not value your own time. And so, I've run a number of those classes, both for a group of women as well as one-on-one when they've got individual business needs, just to help them get started.
Awesome. And I guess, at an organisational level, I'd love to know, and for people here would love to know about what are the benefits of working with BIMA for Publicis Sapient?
So I think our employees, especially, those certainly much younger than me, they are very, very interested in what is your purpose? What are you giving back? Obviously, companies are there to make, sufficient profits for shareholders, but that's not enough anymore for people in the workplace. They want to know they're giving back to the communities, they're helping the communities, and that's what our employees want. They want to be able to do that. They want to be able to give back. So we make it easy for them to do that by sponsoring, using the facilities. We pay for them to mentor, and we pay for them because they get benefit. It helps them be better people managers in the workplace.
Awesome. I'd like to now move on to Josie Klafkowska, who is Director of Marketing at Cognifide. Josie, actually, it'd be great to know, because while you were sat on this side right now and you're watching us, Josie was here about 18 months ago, sat where you are. It'd be great to know a bit about what it was that made you want to get involved and make it.
So, is that working? I sat exactly where you all are now and listened to somebody just like Honesty. And firstly, Honesty, I've got to say, you rocked that, you really did. And so did one of your You Make It colleagues or predecessors that I heard. And I was sitting in this audience with another female colleague, we were crying. And it just felt like a no-brainer. So we kind of took this back to the office and started talking to colleagues. And we actually run a kind of fairly sort of inclusive and democratic sort of CSR and sustainability strategy at Cognifide. And we have a framework, and basically we encourage colleagues to come and bring projects that they feel passionate about to us. And everybody gets a set out of time that they can put aside to work on it, and we also have a fund that people can dip into. So we definitely felt that You Make It was something that we should move forward with. The questions that you have to ask yourself at Cognifide to sort of, to get your initiative included are, so this is the sort of pillars of the framework, is it inclusive? Is it educational? Is it scalable? So does it have legs? We don't just want to sort of do little one-offs here and there. We want to partner with people that we can really move forward with. And the other one is it pro-environment? Now, is it obvious to anyone that you make it ticks sort of easily 3 of those boxes. So really, it was a no-brainer, and I think the experience that we've had from it has just been incredible, actually.
Awesome. And so, actually, the way we work, as Asma mentioned, is really responsive. And we've had a program which Asma designed 8 years ago now. We started with 12 workshops, and that's developed over time. Even the time I've been here, we've almost doubled that. And actually, we're talking with the team at Cognifide. We identified that there was a skill set that they had that maybe Olin could benefit from. One of those was some workshops, being project management. And now we also identified a further one, which is around creating really banging applications for jobs, which is something we really struggle with. So just want to know a bit about what has the process been like for you with developing these workshops and delivering them with our young women?
Well, firstly, I think, and I hope you think as well, that it's been a lot of teamwork between us, because you've actually been really involved in them as well. It's not like you just gave us a brief and we went away. So that's been a very kind of good process. You've given us so much sort of vision about the women and about what they will want to hear and that kind of thing, because without really kind of understanding, what we can bring to them, we couldn't do that. I think as far as the project management one went, that was really interesting, because obviously, when you work in digital and you work with teams of developers, project management is a kind of science, really. It's, there are methodologies and there's this and there's that, and we work in an agile environment, but we are, agile is no longer just sort of a software development methodology. I think there is so much that businesses can learn about that. And that was kind of something that we wanted to sort of suggest to the women that they could take into their projects, whether they're creating something that they can sell at Spitalfields that Roxy was talking about before, or whether they're thinking of going into a placement or anything like that. It's just, there are some really good kind of methodologies that you can learn from. But I think for us it was, because you sort of, when you're so involved in it yourself, we talk in a language that most people don't understand, and everything's an acronym, and so it was really a lesson to ourselves to kind of translate that for a different audience. One of our guys developed a game that the women could play that taught them about Kanban and that kind of thing. So it was interesting. It made us think again about the language we use and the way we talk about it. And God, we learned so much back from the women, actually. So it's a real two-way process.
Fantastic. I'd love to move on to Harriet, product director, is it?
Yes.
Red Badger. And Harriet, actually, it'd be really great to know, you've mentored, but just to start off with, what has it been like at Red Badger working with quite local organisations? Red Badger are based in Old Street, we're based in Haggerston, 15-minute bus journey. And I know that you previously worked with much bigger charities. What was it like to work with something much smaller and much more homegrown and grassroots?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. So our journey through this, we're 120 people, we're based solely in Old Street, and about 2 years ago we started this sort of grassroots social value initiative where actually lots of people across the organisation wanted to do something for social good, but we're not big enough to have a corporate social responsibility. We wanted to do it our own way and find charities and initiatives that we all really cared about. So initially we looked at big charities, and we really wanted to partner with somebody that was having a lot of impact, potentially in the local area. But what we ended up doing was partnering with a pretty large charity, to be honest, like all across the UK. And although it was great, we ran a few workshops and we learned quite a lot in the process, we were a small fish for them, and we weren't able to provide them with as much impact as a lot of other organisations were. And what we learned during that process was that we actually wanted to work directly with the people that were making that impact. So we then, last year, very similar to you, Josie, we came to this exact breakfast briefing. We sat here in the room and we left pretty much in tears about the impact and the inspirational speeches that Asma and Roxy and everybody gave. And we thought, yes, that's what we want. That's That's really what we want. So it's been an absolute pleasure, the relationship that we built over that time. So starting from the beginning, meeting directly with the people that are making a difference, and working out how the partnership is going to work. What do actually you make a need from Red Badger, and what skills can we offer beyond just funding, and a learning process as well. Ad hoc funding for small charities is fine, but actually you need to be able to plan. So we had to learn quite quickly what it was that Newmaker needed from us, and from a mentoring perspective, just learning about that whole process has been amazing.
And that would be great to know. Just so Harriet has actually mentored the program. Actually, all three mentoring the program. It would be great to hear from you a bit about your personal experience of mentoring and what you've learned from that process.
Okay, how long have I got? So I think some of my colleagues had done it. I think about 6 months prior to I have. So I've just finished this year's cohort, and I was nervous. Not going to lie. You've never met somebody before, and you go through this mentoring workshop, and it's brilliant. Really talking about, be yourself, be honest, all of the things that we think that we are, but often struggle with, I think. After that workshop, you're like, oh, that's it, I'm out in the big wide world, I've got to meet my mentee for the first time, and you're thinking to yourself, what happens if I say something wrong? What happens if I'm not the person that they want me to be? What happens if I can't support them in their goals? And I have to say, Roxy, you did an amazing job. If anyone here is in the room has ever been matched with somebody, Roxy does an absolutely incredible job of matching people. So I sat down with my mentee Aisha for the first time, and Roxy had already given her a bit of a background about me. And nerve-wracking process, meeting a stranger for the first time from completely different backgrounds. She said, "Oh, Roxy told me that you went to Japan last year. I went last year. That's great, I really want to go back, but at the moment I don't have any money, and that's what I really want." And it was just that, broke the ice immediately, just being able to bond on something that we both really enjoy, which is travel. And she was so candid and so honest and warm and open that it made the relationship so easy from that moment on.
Thank you. So, up next, would like to bring up, is it yourself, Asma, and Jess?
I'm gonna. Honestly, we're just gonna open up for questions. Actually, has anyone got a question they want to start with? Because if you have a question, you get to catch that blue box over there, which I'm ensured isn't to make you look stupid, but is actually on the microphone. And Nancy's going to throw it to you. So I could there you go. So I could ask a question, but I do want to see someone catch the blue box because I've never seen one of those before, and I thought she was having me on. If there are people, I suppose, that sort of get people started, if you're in the audience thinking maybe we should be working with you, make it, maybe you're thinking, oh, what could go wrong, what's going to stop me? I'm just thinking of the people who've gone through that process, like what were whether the barriers ended up being true or not, kind of what were the barriers, what might stop people that you could maybe just help dispel some of those kind of barriers and help them understand how you might get over them.
Good question. I think most of the barriers were in my own head, to be honest. I think I was just a bit nervous about what I could bring to the table. My experience working with somebody from a completely different background where I felt that maybe we weren't necessarily aligned, having never met them before. And as I said, I learned so much about myself in the process. Just that really I have the power within myself to help others succeed and to find their own path. And that really I'm just acting as a sounding board for somebody else.
I think similar. I think I was worried, but I guess you have a lot of input that you don't realise other people don't have. So I think you take a lot for granted. And I actually ended up learning a lot about different perspectives. And when I spoke to other people who had done the mentoring, they learned as much too.
Has anyone got something from the kind of organisational perspective? So if you're sort of thinking on behalf of your business, whether they're sort of maybe Josie or us, or were there barriers you might think, oh, but that might be tricky or that might be tricky, how can we help you with that?
I think a lot of people in our business, we thought they would struggle to find the time to be able to do it. Yeah. But actually they found the time, whether it was lunchtimes or working an hour late or whatever. but they found the time because they wanted to do it. And actually, it was they got a bit addicted to it. Once they had done one session, similar to what you're saying, they were like, wow, this is great, I'm learning as much as the other person. Can I have another one? Can I have another one? So, we thought there would be lots of barriers in terms of time. There weren't.
I just want to add to that as well, because I think, Harriet, you described quite well how sort of scary actually the mentoring thing can be, sort of setting out. Roxy knows that actually my journey with my mentor was not straightforward at all, but the one thing that I would say is that these guys give you such amazing support. And the girl that I mentored, who is fantastic, I would say is very much still on her journey. We talked an awful lot, didn't we? So you're not on your own. You're not kind of suddenly stuck out there thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. And the women do have access to counsellors as well and therapists. And so I think that the support network is absolutely fantastic, really, for the women, but for the mentors, for people organising workshops, all of that sort of thing. So don't be frightened. Just put your foot in and try it, because it's worth it and the support's fantastic.
Is there anything, Roxy, are there sort of common questions you get asked that might be worth covering?
I think a really key thing is about how do you get financial input from the organisation when it comes to mentoring, because I think there's often this misconception that mentoring, as people think, is a one-way process, but actually the benefits for businesses and actually individuals, as you all have heard here today, are vast. And I think it's really about how you pitch it to your management, and we have documentation that we can provide just to back that up, and we can have conversations as well to help get that sign off. But I think there's often an initial fear of, it's got to be paid for, how to get this budget. But as you'll see here, organisations, when they understand the benefit, will put cash towards it, and they'll see that the impacts don't stop the young people that you work with and the social impact, but actually a business impact, and I think that's really crucial.
Yeah, just to add, I've got this, just to add to the business impact, there's been lots of research done actually, which is that millennials, I think lots of people like millennials, reluctantly look still a little bit younger than me, don't want to work just for commercial businesses generating money for the guy at the top. They do want to do something with social purpose and value, and I think our mentoring program really kind of meets that need in terms of like younger staff who want to mentor on something like You Make It. And just to go back, and we've had lots of anecdotal evidence from mentors that the mentoring training and that process of mentoring has really improved their management style within their companies. So as Roxy says, we can provide you with some really solid evidence as to why your company ought to sponsor you. And just one thing, I don't know if it was the session before, where you were talking about working with a smaller charity, and I guess one of the advantages of working with a smaller charity is in some way you could think, God, they're really small, how are they going to manage a relationship with us? But we are speedy in our response times to pretty much any email that we get. So I think we're a fleet-footed, dynamic charity. There are 3 of us, shortly going to be 4 of us. But I know for a fact that when we get something in our inbox, there's a response to it straight away. And I think anyone, you're nodding, anyone will know that we are hyper efficient. And I think that's also the huge advantage of working for, a charity of women actually can just get stuff done.
So just for context, the previous charity we were working with, we worked out on average it took 31 days to reply to an email.
Right.
And so, an amazing charity, nothing against them whatsoever, but just to go back to the sort of small fish for them.
Yeah.
Whereas with you guys, it feels like a partnership, a real partnership.
Yeah, our partnerships are important to us.
Yeah, and I think also the feedback when we've, after our workshops, for instance, is instant. So one thing that Roxy always does is she goes around the room and asks all the women how was it for you, which is a bit scary when you're standing there thinking, oh gosh, how did I do? But that's great, and then we get even more feedback after that when people have really had time to sort of go home and think about it and digest it. So, in terms of you then going back to sort of your board or whatever and going, well, we should continue to do this because X, Y, Z, you've got that in spades, so that's quite useful too.
Do you have anything to add in terms of the barriers or anything useful? You kind of address that.
I actually have a question for this. I don't know if you can hear me. Hi, I'm quite interested in
No, please have the catch box.
I'm really interested in your journey. It's a great work.
have on your horizon that you want to achieve, want to do, or what's next for you? Do you know yet, or are you still figuring out? I'm just interested.
Big question. I've got lots of, I guess, goals and dreams. I quite enjoy writing. I still like to write a book, lots of books. I'm also in the process of learning to speak sign language in terms of bridging that barrier. That partially helps with, I guess, my own word processing, but also I think just because I'm from a multiple socially disadvantaged groups doesn't excuse me from doing the work to still be an ally for others. And so I'm just trying to continuously grow. Plan to stay at Grandaja, trying to climb this ladder. I'm going to get a degree. I just want you guys to know. At some point, I'm definitely going to have a degree. I don't have money, so someone's going to have to sponsor me. But I'm definitely going to do that too.
Can I add something about honesty? Sorry. What's really amazing about her journey is that coming on the programme, she sees every opportunity that came her way. And I think what was beautiful to see when you see her now as an apprentice and just an amazing speaker, but actually one day we had a woman come in from the London Transport Museum offering opportunity to be a freelancer, to get a taste of it, and then honestly went for that opportunity. The only person out of the whole cohort to do so. She did that. She nailed the interview, which was literally full of people with degrees, degrees from top universities, and she got onto the programme and became a freelancer. Then got a freelance gig on top of that at the Wellcome Trust, and then also at Stonewall, and then you got a digital marketing internship all the way in Dublin. And it's this idea that she's such a go-getter, and there's so many go-getters out there who don't know how to go and get, or don't know if they can go and get, and this programme means that you can be part of that journey for them to go and get it. So that's what I add.
Sorry, I just wanted to add something as well. So last year when Honesty had finished the Make It programme, so she came to us as sort of for a work placement, working in the marketing team, and just to give you a bit of insight into what really can happen when you invite diverse candidates into your office. So we were doing a project thinking about ADHD in secondary schools, and Honesty kind of heard about what we were talking about across the office, and just came and sat down and said, "Oh no, can I come? I want to share my experiences." And it was just that insight and personal experience, I think, that added so much to the project that, I thank you.
I was just going to ask, Roxy and Asma, what are the smallest organisations who take people into workplace? Because obviously, lots of large ones, and that it can often feel like small organisations perhaps get more worried about doing that. You have all sizes, don't you?
We have all sizes. We had one-man bands, people who, they're literally a staff and there are 2 people. We occupy a co-working space in Langston called The Shed, and there are a lot of really, really tiny businesses. So people are on their own, or people with just one other. And several of those businesses have taken on work placements, and several of those businesses actually have also mentored. So there's no, because actually I guess they understand the benefit. If you're a small company and you've got some budget, you want to work with a resilient, eager, worked on person. Don't forget, by the time that someone comes to a work placement, they've had several months of self-reflection, skills development time with us through workshops and mentoring. So I guess they see the benefit of it from that perspective.
And even one-man bands have gone on to actually
Offer paid work to someone who's been on a work placement with them. We had one in the Shed actually who worked in set design and found talent through us and was like, yeah, I'm going to work with them for the past 2 years. They've been working together. So actually, size of the organisation does not have to be the barrier. I think it's really your keenness to get engaged and get the sign off from yourself somehow. Finding budget.
Brilliant. I just want to make sure no one's sat here thinking it's not for us. That's all. We have a question
as well. No, it's not a question. I ran the workshops that Josie said. I don't think this has come out on the kind of conversation so far, but I think the best thing about the whole process is that the women that come out the other end of the process, the 6-month process, are probably some of the most sort of self-assured, confident, on the surface, headstrong people that I actually have met in that age bracket, and actually more so than our staff, because they've gone through a process which actually not a lot of people access, even people like me, Christine Nicole,
access, and I know that it's a fantastic program that people go through, but you come out the other end and actually they are ready to kind of access the workplace and much and be part of that organisation, or be part of that environment, and it's so enlightening, I think, to be part of that. And I think that hasn't really, I want to just add that to the conversation, because I think it's an important part of what the outcome really is, and it's confidence and being ready to sort of go forward.
And you don't get that with people straight out of university.
No.
I think what I was basically saying is ditch your grad script and just take it from instead. I just had a question. We talked a lot about business benefits, and it was, and actually I think people have talked about kind of what it's meant for them in terms of growing as a person. But also, I think it is probably worth touching on the emotional benefits of doing these things as well. I mean, there's not just and that's a great thing to do for business, but there is also just, why aren't we participating in things that are uplifting for everybody, and what are the other benefits for people on the panel?
I mean, I don't think we're in a great time as the world at the moment. We are in the rise. Well, the right has risen, right? And we've got Trump as president, we've got Boris as prime minister. Sorry, anyone opposed Boris. But I just don't think it's the most optimistic of times. And I think people can feel really helpless, actually, and they can just feel like a victim of some terrible policies or some ill thought out policies, and it's just like there feels to be a climate of cruelty at the moment, if I'm honest with you. So I think that this, personally, for me, is, I'm the person who set up the charity, I think I do it because I want the women to do well, but there's probably one part of me that does it as well, because it makes me feel like I've got some agency to do something that's of some value in a climate that just feels kind of disgraceful, actually, at the moment. So that's my reason for doing, one of the reasons for me doing what I do.
It just reminds me of this thing in the movie. Has anyone seen the film The Great Debaters? No, you should watch it, it's sick, it's Denzel. But there's this quote of this young woman, she's in a debate and they're arguing about the segregation of schools, and she says to him, the time for justice and the time for equality is always right now. And just kind of prompted it in terms of it being like, the state of the world is always going to make you feel like really tiny and really powerless because you're just one person. But also, if every one person decided to do one bit, what would the world then look like?
I think also that slightly ties back to the thing that you were talking about, Asma, of people, that young people coming into the workplace need to feel that the company they work for has a purpose. So even with us, people who aren't directly involved with You Make It, we run these sort of post-recruitment surveys, and as I'm sure lots of you do, and ask people, what was it that really attracted you to Cognifide? And a lot of people, it's an emotional thing for everybody. So even if you're not actually part of the You Make It program, people feel that they're then emotionally kind of buying into a company that shares their values, and that kind of thing. So I think the emotional thing is a kind of halo effect all through your organisation.
And just, I think there's been lots of research into this, just to add, being rich does not make a person happy. What makes a person happy, I can't cite the research, but I know a lot's been done. What makes a person feel happy is doing something for somebody else. So I think when we talk about the addiction of mentoring, or the addiction that I have in continuing to run You Make It, or Roxy, who used to skip, she'll leave jobs previously to this every year to 18 months, because she's been here for 3.5 going on 4 years. The addiction, or Atul, who starts as a mentor, then he's a trustee, then he's a chair. It's because actually doing something that helps other people makes you feel better. That's basically it.
I also think that I think the other side of it as well is just the human connections that you make during that time, and it's just amazing listening to other people's stories, people that you would not normally come across on day to day. And things like, I was in Turkey last week, and my mentee is Turkish Cypriot, and she gave me a list of all the new places to go visit. So things like that, which are just really powerful. And I think for me, I didn't necessarily do it for my own happiness, because I just wanted to feel like I gave something back. But at the graduation ceremony 2 weeks ago, my mentee's mum came and just came over, I'd never met her before, gave me a massive hug and said thank you. And I burst into tears. It was just that emotional connection which really made it for me.
Has anyone else got any questions?
I guess the last one is, we're all sold, obviously. What are the next steps?
We've got sign-up sheets, haven't we?
Yeah, I've got time.
Yes, there is sign. Grab these guys. Don't leave without grabbing these guys.
So what would be great actually, and even if it's just to have an exploratory coffee with us post this, is if we get all your names and your emails, and then over the next few weeks we will schedule some meetings with you individually. You'll see in the pack, so there are lots of opportunities, sponsoring You Make It, buying the mentor training packages from You Make It, taking part in our fantastic newly designed, and obviously as I've mentioned, my honesty is going to help facilitate We Change It workshops to help you become stronger allies within your companies for equality and diversity strategies that actually work, as opposed to just having a strategy in place. And then also You Make It Happen, which is about helping you better engage, retain, progress young people into your workforce. So there are lots of different opportunities, and we would just maybe a good idea is to pass that around.
Yes.
And yeah, of course.
We have just started a new cohort of women who are eagerly waiting to meet mentors, and I have a handful of places at the moment that I would love to fill. So if anyone in here at the moment is like, oh, I really just want to mentor and explore that option, do come and grab me if you want to put your name down.
When is the mentor training?
We have a session next week.
So that would have to be fairly speedy Gonzalez. So if you don't own budget, you will have to go back to your workplaces today and say, this is what I really want to do, and can I use some training and development budget or CSR budget to do it? That would have to be quite a quick one.
Yeah.
But then if you don't have the time scale is too short, we have another programme launching next spring.
Nancy, be very quiet.
No, really.
Anything to add? Shall I hand over to wrap us up?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, fantastic. Great. I think we'd agree it's a really inspirational way to start the day. Lots of food for thought. As the head of inclusion and diversity at Publicis Sapient, obviously this is my role every day. It's my full-time role here at Publicis Sapient. I look after a number of different aspects of diversity, but You Make It ticks both gender, racial diversity, mental health, social exclusion. I mean, it really is the whole package. So I would encourage you to reach out. I'd like to say thank you so much to Holly and to Jess for hosting the session, but of course to all of the team from You Make It, and Honesty here, and all of the panellists. So thank you very much.
Can we just say thank you for Nancy as well?
Do a takeaway breakfast as well, some sign up on machines. Thank you.
And